Right now, I'm headed to go rescue a turtle. A tortoise, to be exact. But then again, tortoises are turtles, but not all turtles are tortoises. So you can call this one either one, believe it or not. But we got a call to go rescue a tortoise. Actually, we got a call to go rescue 3 tortoises. So today we're going to get 3 tortoises. Now, we get these tortoises out of the middle of the road. We've gotten them before wandering through the woods or in people's backyards. And the tortoise I'm talking about is not one that's native here to the southeastern U.S., not here in Georgia where we're located. This tortoise is native to Africa, just south of the Sahara Desert. And it's actually a pretty common, popular, I don't know if it's common, but a popular pet among people who like reptiles. The problem with this tortoise is they get big. It is the 3rd largest species of tortoise in the world. The only ones that get bigger is the Galapagos and the Aldabra tortoise. So this is a sulcata tortoise, and they get big. Now, the ones you're gonna go get are not super big, but they're gonna get big. But they're big enough to cause this family some problems because they've gotten a little bit too big to deal with. And that happens with these tortoises, especially here, because even in Georgia where we're at, you can have a few nights during the winter where the temperatures are maybe in 15 degrees or so, and the tortoise can't handle that. So you have to have a place where they can spend the winter, continue to eat, and be somewhat active, and be warm enough. And that can be hard to do, especially with a big animal. And so we're gonna go pick these guys up and pick them up. Man, I don't like to think about that. I just had to move a desk up some stairs, and my back is not forgiving me for that yet. So I'm not looking to picking up anything, especially a big old tortoise. But that's what we have to do today. How y'all doing?
I'm all right, man. French English.
Yeah, Jason.
Nice to meet you. This is my wife, Sarah.
Hello, how are you?
These are our sulcatas.
Oh, good. Cool.
I think I got 2 males and a female.
Okay.
I think that's the boy. That's the big one.
Yeah.
I think that's the boy, and that's the boy, and that's the girl. But
Okay.
I could be wrong.
We can check them and see. They have names?
Not really.
Not really? How long you had these guys?
3-4 years now?
Yeah.
They were all
That's
about
cool.
half that size when we got them.
Oh, really? Yeah.
They've grown really well.
These guys actually grow pretty quick. Hey, fella.
We throw them, little salad leftovers like that for treats every once in a while.
Yeah.
But it's a little cool. They may not want to eat today.
Yeah.
He's just mad at me today.
We try to take care of our animals, and we realize that it's getting beyond our. I'm not sure.
There we
Now
go.
I'm sure.
So the good thing about what y'all are doing is I've got a bunch of these tortoises. Most of them, somebody just turns them loose, or they get loose, or when they do call us, they're half dead. They're just in bad shape. So the fact that y'all are calling us to find them a home, that's a good thing, because some people do that, but most people don't.
Well, it's our hardship with dealing with them is when it gets super cold. I just don't have anything at this point in my life where I can give them a really secure, warm place when it gets down in the teens. We bring them in and put them in the room with the dogs with the space heater, and I've got a couple of heating mats that they can get on.
When it comes to watermelon, the dogs will fight them over it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The dogs like watermelon?
Yeah, the dogs eat watermelon. It's very good for dogs to eat water because it's got a lot of water in it, and it's not really super sweet. But we'll sit out here during the summer with the watermelon, and you'll be surrounded by dogs and tortoises just sitting there trying to eat them.
Yeah, yeah.
But they have dug some serious holes. That one over there where the dirt mound is,
Yeah.
it was this deep and this long inside. They've dug underneath the house before.
Yeah, they can be destructive for sure, and especially when you have them inside, just clawing and tearing the sheetrock off the walls. I've been in houses where they've messed up a house before, especially when they get really big.
I mean, I love them, but we've gotten to the point where they've gotten too big.
Yeah, yeah. All right, well, let me get my boxes here. Getting 3 sulcata tortoises. These are native to Africa, and they're actually a pretty popular pet here in the U.S. But the thing is, they grow fast, they get big, and they can be a lot to deal with, especially like she said, when wintertime comes. You know, these guys don't like hibernate, you know, like mammals do. So they like to be active and are eating even in the wintertime, but you got to keep them warm and have a place they can walk around. And so that can be tough to do, especially as these guys get bigger. So I think we can get away with just 2 boxes. 2 in one, 1 in the other.
Yeah, they're super friendly.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
As long as you don't have your toes out,
Yeah.
you're all right.
Anything that's red, they like to go in.
Oh yeah, if you have like toenails, your toenails
Yeah.
painted, or oh, he's heavy. He's got some good weight to him. So let's just
He's a
look.
boy.
Yep. So that's the boy. See how his tail folds around,
Yep.
and the shell's kind of concave there.
Yep, I can see.
So that's a boy for sure. All right.
I mean, they're fed a lot.
Oh yeah, no, I mean for his size, I've picked up enough of these to where you'll pick him up and say, okay, yeah, he's got good body weight to him. Sometimes I'll pick him up, they'll weigh half that. And you can tell he needs to go eat some grass, you know. But no, he's got a good body weight for sure.
And it's great.
You ready to go in there?
when
You're
everybody
walking
gives
right
away
toward
their
it.
pumpkins.
Hey. Yeah, they're friendly. They're not jerking their head back in their shell.
No,
you know?
they get a lot of attention.
Sometimes when we get some that haven't been taken care of or abused or had time taken up with them, when you touch them here, they pull that head in and get scared. And he's not doing that at all. Well, I don't know if it's a he. Let's see.
That's a boy.
That's a boy. That concave shell, the tail folds around. So that's a boy.
I might have 3 boys.
Let's see.
But that one's coming for him.
Well, you know, the boys are much more common. We get a lot more boys than girls. So even though this is a boy, his shell is relatively flat. That's because he's still young, but it'll start dipping in here. Maybe it's starting a little bit.
I can see it right here.
Yeah, but that tail folds around tells us, even though he has a flat shell, that it's still a boy. All right,
now,
buddy.
he did not come from the same place the other 2 came from.
Yeah.
He is a different point of origin.
He came from Decatur.
Oh yeah, up around Atlanta.
Yep.
Yeah, somebody.
You like that tomato fella?
Somebody's roommate left it in there, and they were taking care of it, and they couldn't.
All right,
do
you're
it.
not going far. I promise. You're not going far.
My daughter, who's a senior in high school,
Okay.
over the years has collected 2 ball pythons.
Yeah.
And one of them is a big banana, yellow, super nice, healthy, robust animal. And the other one is what they call a spider moor.
Spider ball. Yeah.
And he's got the neurological tics.
The head wobble.
The head
Yeah.
wobble and the upside down head wobble.
Yeah.
But he is a good eater and he's
Yeah.
been super healthy, but she's leaving for college in a few months. You any interest or suggestion about what to do
We
with
can
that?
take those. We don't take the
I don't want
aquariums.
to get the big snake. I want to get rid of the one with the head wobble.
Yeah, that's fine. We can take that.
Do you want me to put them in a bag for you? Or you
If you've got a bag, if not, I've got one in the
Bag or
van.
a
well, he's got a bag. He said he's got something he can put.
All righty. Oh yeah. Pretty little snake.
Yep, good natured. He just needs somebody who ready to take care of him.
Yeah. And does it have a name? That one?
But this is not. This is Hamilton.
Yeah, that's Hamilton.
This is Hamilton.
The other
Okay.
one's Alexander. You can tell what her favorite music was.
Yeah, a little fella.
Like I say, he's just about to go in the shed, but otherwise.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good little,
good
good
eater.
little ball python. Very pretty pattern on it.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right, fella, you going with me too? Surprise snake.
10 to
That's heavy.
18
With
feet.
2 tortoises in it.
Yeah.
Well, it's nice to finally meet you in person.
You
And
too.
nice to meet you, Sarah.
All right.
Whew, look at that. See that sweat? Hard work, okay? When you don't have hair to hold your sweat in place, it goes everywhere. So, I knew I was coming to get 3 tortoises. The snake was a surprise, but you know, a lot of these calls we go on, that happens a lot. You get there somewhere and you go in for one thing and you end up with something else too. So not uncommon. The snake that we got is a ball python, and they said it's a spider morph. I guess it is. I don't know my morphs with snakes. I'm not into all that stuff. But I do know that the spider ball python, and it's called a spider because of the pattern that it's bred for, well, there's some type of genetic deformity to where their head kind of wobbles sometimes. It's just sad, you know, but apparently it doesn't seem to cause a problem with the snake eating and living a normal life. But some people, some breeders I've heard have tried to stop breeding those because of that issue. We'll feed it, get a few meals into it, eventually we'll find it a home. Somebody that can care for it and love it even though its head wobbles around. So these tortoises, even though they're living with dogs, which is not ideal for tortoises, because sometimes dogs see turtles and tortoises as just a chew bone that moves around, you know, and boy, it calls for little box turtles that have been chewed up by dogs in the neighborhood, and it's horrible. But these tortoises are bigger than the dogs you're living with, so that's a good thing. But that's not an ideal situation. So now they will no longer be living with dogs. They will be living with other tortoises. It's really hard to find homes for these tortoises. Well, let me rephrase that. It's easy for me to get rid of these tortoises, but it's hard to find appropriate homes for these tortoises because so many people see them like, oh man, those are so cool, I want one, but they don't realize, oh man, how much it takes to care for this tortoise. It is a lot of work, and there's a lot of expense that goes into it too. Even though they're that big, you know, and they're still pretty young, so they're gonna more than quadruple that size. They'll get, you know, 150, 200 pounds possibly. And these are males, and the males get bigger than females. So these are going to be really big one day when they get full grown. A lot to handle. Strong backs required. This is the field that the tortoises will get to enjoy once springtime arrives. But for now, they've got to spend the winter escaping the cold in the tortoise house. I just finished removing the old hay from the building. Now it's time for some new, fresh hay for these tortoises. Now, one question I get all the time is, so when you get these 3 new tortoises in, you're just going to put them in with your tortoises here now. That may not be an ideal situation, but yeah, that's what I'm going to do. These tortoises I just got in, or anytime you get in new animals, if you can quarantine them somewhere else away from the animals you already have, that's the best case scenario. I don't have anywhere else to put these guys. And I do feel these needed to be taken from where they were, and I think we can do a little better here with, you know, not have them near dogs and that kind of stuff. That's not really the greatest thing for tortoises in my opinion. But could these have parasites? They probably do have parasites, and I'm going to worm these guys. There's a couple ways we worm tortoises. One way we don't do it is with ivermectin. That can actually be toxic to tortoises. So we use Panicure. We'll also use pumpkin, just fresh raw pumpkin. I've gone to my vet. I've had some of my tortoises wormed by my vet before that we've gotten in that had parasite loads. Most of the time, this is something I do myself. I'm not going to do a demonstration on how I do this because I'm not a vet. I'm not going to be giving you medical advice for your animal, but that's what we're going to do with these guys. And so, you know, most tortoises have worms, and so I've heard that sometimes those can actually help them digest their food. But if they have too big of a load of those worms in their gut, then that can be a bad thing that needs to be taken care of. But so this building I keep these tortoises in, this is their winter headquarters. And on sunny days when it's, you know, because here in Georgia, we may have a day that's pretty warm. And on those days, we'll let the tortoises out, let them get some sunshine, because they have to have that. You know, these soak up that sun, helps them digest their food. And if you're keeping your tortoises inside all the time, then you have to have proper lighting in there. I don't have any of that lighting in here because we can go 2 or 3 weeks at a time when it's really cold and them not have that sunlight that they really want, and they're still going to be okay. So once we have a warm day, they do get to go outside, they do get some sunlight, but then when spring comes, they're outside all the way through fall. So we've never had an issue with them. We've had many of these tortoises for many years, and they do quite well. So, you know, it's like I said, it's not always a good idea just to incorporate new animals into a habitat, but with animals you already have. But sometimes we have to do that. So I want to feed these guys. We feed them a lot of different stuff. You know, we don't feed them one thing. The thing with the tortoises and a lot of animals is variety. Most of what these tortoises eat is grass and hay. That's the majority of their diet. We do go to the grocery store. We do buy them vegetables, more as a treat. We don't give them a lot of fruit, really. Sometimes we'll even put wormer in fruit. I've done that before and feed them that if you need to worm them. But most of the time we'll get like really dark leafy green vegetables. And there's a lot of places on the internet that are reputable, some not so reputable, that can tell you what to feed a tortoise if you have one. But also, a lot of people say, you know, not to use hay as a substrate, which is what I'm using here. And I'm doing this mainly because it's easy to do. But the problem is I have to change this hay out often because they'll pee and poop on it and things like that, and then it can get, you know, mildewed and mold and all that. So we have to change the hay out and keep fresh hay in here. But for me, this has been the easiest way to do it. As far as putting, you know, mulch and dirt and stuff like that in here, I don't do that. But I haven't had any trouble with these tortoises living and thriving and doing really good. As long as you keep it clean, you know, as clean as you can, because they poop a lot. They poop a lot. But what I'm going to feed these guys right now is actually some horse feed, basically. Now, it's not horse feed as in like sweet feed, but what this is Timothy pellets. So this is like Timothy grass, Timothy hay, and it's made into a pellet. And we don't just feed it this way. We're actually going to put this in a pan, and then we're going to add a little bit of water here, kind of let it absorb some of the water, not a ton of water, and then they will actually eat this. And this is actually really good for them. So this is one of the things that we feed them. Now, the hay that they're bedding in, they'll eat some of that too. But like we'll go buy them orchard grass. You can buy bags of orchard grass, like where they sell rabbit feed on the rabbit feed aisle. They'll usually have bags of that. They love that stuff too. But having a varied diet, they love. In the summertime, there's tons of grass out here growing, and that's mainly what they eat. You know, when we get a tortoise in, and it's a really big tortoise with a nice smooth shell, no pyramiding on it, and it has a nice weight to it, just a healthy tortoise, I always ask them, what do you feed it? They're like, oh, nothing, just eats grass and hay, that's it. Feeding them like vegetables and fruits, very, very sparingly, because that's not the greatest thing for them. All right, here's our first boy. You ready, fella? Let's go meet your new friends. He is really heavy to be that size. He's been eating good. Oh, and here's number two. Going in. A lot of pyramiding on this shell, meaning there's bumps on his shell. And so that's not how his shell should look. That could be from a lot of stuff. Maybe too much protein or just growing too fast or a lot of stuff. But over time, because he's not huge yet, that pyramiding could possibly even itself out. Number 3. All right, fella, it's your turn. Come on out of the box. In addition to food, we also have to provide them fresh water. They may not drink every day, but we do need to offer it to them because, yes, tortoises do drink water, believe it or not, even sulcata tortoises that are from an arid region in Africa. If you've enjoyed this video, consider making a donation. That will help us do even more for reptiles and bring you more content just like this. Jason Clark here. I'm the founder and director of Southeastern Reptile Rescue, and I want to let you know what an amazing year we just had. This last year, with the hundreds of reptile presentations we did and all of the reptile exhibits that we set up, we were able to reach over 250,000 people with our rescued reptiles and share with them our message of why they should care about these animals as much as we do. And for all the people who can't come see us in person, fortunately our videos have had a worldwide reach and able to show just how amazing these reptiles are. And what's even cooler, there's a lot of schools and public libraries here in the Southeast who have started using our videos as part of their curriculum. Over this last year, we've rescued several hundred reptiles. Sometimes it includes helping an animal find a new home, or maybe removing an animal from a dangerous situation and releasing it somewhere else in the wild. It also includes those animals having to come here and find refuge and live out their life at Southeastern Reptile Rescue. For this next year, we have even more planned. Right now, we're working on a new project we've never offered to the public before, but the hope is it will inspire the next generation of reptile rescuers. Wintertime doesn't just bring cold weather, it also brings with it the added cost of keeping over 200 rescued reptiles warm and fed. We also are not able to do as many educational programs this time of year, which means a reduction in revenue. That makes your financial support even more important right now. If Southeastern Reptile Rescue has been a blessing to you in the past, consider making a donation. That will help us keep doing what we're doing, and we'll be able to do even more in 2024.